Hello, wonderful beings. Today I'm going to talk about regeneration. Excuse my attire, and I'm also going to try to make this quick because battery's almost out. But I just wanted to get a quick explanation of what regeneration really is because if you search YouTube, the only thing that pops up is a full documentary explaining what scientists' viewpoint is on regeneration. And they even start the whole thing by saying you can get your limb 3D printed, you can take a pill and have your limb regenerated instantaneously. But the reality of it is there's so many ways to induce your DNA activation. Mainly, I'm here to speak on how to do it spiritually. But first, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what scientists have been doing. Now, in today's world, there is a grant which specifies you have to have some sort of experiment inducing DNA either through some electrical matter, through a steroid. I don't align with that. I believe that we are spiritual beings and we should all be able to know that you're allowed to regenerate spiritually. When God says, I made you in my image, He really meant when you take the time to pray, that is the ability to fill oneself with pure light and let go of all stagnation, all negativity, everything that weighs you down. Once this light is fully activated within you, your body starts to tune to this light and starts regenerating itself. Now, scientists are completely pushing all of this aside. Today, there's a grant which specifies you can only receive these $500 million if you prove through a scientific method, aka experimenting on some sort of animal with a surgery, a steroid, or some neuroelectric activity. And through the history of regeneration, it takes us all the way back to Aristotle. Nowadays, we have more technology and more proof, meaning they were even able to look at a cell and how it reacts to the ability to regenerate. In order to regenerate, our cells literally shrink and get rid of passageways they know they can't use during the regeneration process. And there's so many little things like this that our body just knows to do when we are initiated into regeneration or any other type of DNA code. As we know, our RNA is the one who actually communicates with our DNA and grabs the codes necessary for our body to be a part of society and be alive. So in order to induce the RNA into being able to capture more codes from the DNA is a hormone called progesterone. I'll write it up on the screen if I'm not saying that correctly. But in women, when we ovulate, this hormone comes out naturally. In men, they also have it in their testicles, but all of humanity has this in their adrenals. If you've ever heard of the little old lady who saved her kid who was under the car and all she had to do was lift the car and everyone was like, wait, how can this old lady suddenly lift up this car? That's her adrenaline activating this hormone within her to pick up those codes of, yes, I am suddenly allowed to carry this car. Regeneration is possible. Scientists have been experimenting with this for literally decades on decades on decades. And a lot of these studies are actually privatized and you have to pay for them in order to be able to read what came out of these studies. But in reality, once you really gather them all together, it's like they're all stating the exact same things and remaking the exact same studies over and over again, making it sound like it's something fresh and new. When in reality, it's not. Even Aristotle was experimenting. Now, the most important study nowadays is Dr. Levin's. He was paid to make sure he found a way to regenerate baby limbs. But in actuality, he made his full study in order to assure that the machine he made can safely administer his cocktail of drugs in order to safely induce regeneration in the patient. Now, this machine was actually tested on frogs, and through the history of regeneration study, frogs have always been used to assimilate what it means to reactivate regeneration codes. Of course, mice have been through this as well, but the importance of frogs is that as babies or tadpoles, they are allowed to regenerate. But once they go into that state of adulthood, they lose that RNA code. So scientists have been merely focusing on how it is possible to reactivate these regeneration codes within the frogs. And it's the same thing with us. Humankind has been literally going backwards. We've been losing so much of our ability to do certain things, and regeneration is one of them. It's inherent. It's literally a part of our ancestral value to be able to regenerate. Now, I understand there's been a lot of debates, even in the science community, that in order to regenerate, you have to make a pact with the devil. You have to have some sort of assistance from some sort of entity or something supernatural. But it's not like that. We humans are natural. Anything that comes within our DNA codes is a part of us. Now, a little bit about our cell. All of the information we need around us in the universe is received within our cell membrane. Our cell membrane has this protector around it, so we're not allowed to access its full potential. In order to be able to access the regeneration, we don't just need the DNA codes, but we also need the cell membrane to stop protecting itself from not giving the brain and body the full information it has available to it, which is almost what the RNA is there to do, just a messenger of important knowledge, need to know knowledge for the body, right? Now, scientists discovered that cell membrane is actually really important in order to be able to regenerate. Now, I'm going to take a moment to watch this back because I'm sure I repeated myself in many things, but I will make a full video explaining what regeneration really is through time and what it means to us today, because nowadays it's not fair to humanity that scientists who are just trying to sell their machinery and their drugs are what are really evaluating the world. It's like church community sees it as devil's work. The scientists see it as a quick buck to make, and for us, it should be spiritual based, it should be a connection with God. When we pray, that is a moment to really fathom what it feels like to be God, not in a I am God and I'm going to rule the world sort of way, but in a genuine, spiritually enlightened manner. So, in order to regenerate by praying, all we have to do is literally just stand in our silence. We don't think about our wants. We don't think about who hurt us. We don't think about what we want from God. We don't think about what we need right now in this moment. We just sit and be happy for the feelings that start to arise. Once you really let your body fill up with pure light, your body releases any sort of sadness or tension or negativity and starts to heal itself, because you're in that blissful state where it can really move the energy it needs to move in order to regenerate. And if you practice this the correct way, you'll notice your pores shrink up, you get more flexibility, you are just happier overall. And the reason I started looking into this was because I can see demons. So when I go to church, or used to go to church, now I slowly just got more and more afraid of it. People who don't know how to pray and are doing it just solely out of like asking God for something, are forming a specific type of energy within them, which their demons used to eat at. I used to joke that Sunday Mass time is really just demon dinner time. And I was very scared. I fully believe in one's ability to believe, but it just gets scary when people's demons use the people in order to create more darkness, and people don't really know that they're being manipulated by their own demons. They think that it's just their own thoughts being triggered.